Our first match of the day. Best of 5 between the blue Protoss in the bottom right-hand side from Raise Your Edge Gaming. This is Zest, who is taking on a red Terran in the top left of the map. INnoVation from Kaiser Gaming in a best of 5. So, excited to get into this. INnoVation and Zest, two names which I feel go together really well. You know, when I think INnoVation Zest, it's almost like that classic TvP of like veterans of the Korean scene. And what I'm really excited about, especially in this series, is that I just haven't seen Zest play as much lately. I've probably said this, I think I've said this last 2 times I cast Zest, but I was like, oh, you know what, guys? I really didn't see Zest in anything for a while, because we did do Korean content for a little bit. And the Korean content we did do, Zest wasn't part of it because he's part of a foreign team, so he's not part of the China Team Championship or anything on those lines. So I'm excited to see this. It's always fun to see where Zest's PVT is at. I mean, Zest's PVT has had quite a year as he does not find the proxy, turns it around right at the last second. His PVT has had quite a year. I remember at the start of the year, he just couldn't win games. He'd get into great positions, and then late game, he would fall apart. It really feels like he fixed that a lot. And nowadays, though, like I say, now I've not seen enough of him to really judge. So, yeah. Zest has gone for me from this. Oh my god, he's going to find it now. He's going to be annoyed that he didn't find that sooner. Tech Lab goes down as well. But yeah, for me, Zest's PVT is a little bit of a question mark. Like, where really are we? If you're Zest, you know, what is it looking like? I know what INnoVation's TvP looks like. Very aggressive, tank-based pushes. Really trying to win on all 3 bases. Not as keen to go up to 4 bases, but if he does go there, he gets those ghosts out and plays a pretty typical style. Anyway, for now, this is obviously opening up with some Marauder aggression. So the big thing about Zest not scouting this sooner is that he went Nexus before he went for a Zealot or anything. If you already go for like a unit initially, this becomes way harder to do anything with as INnoVation. So now he's got a little bit more opportunity. As the shield battery goes down, let's see what this Marauder and SCV can find. That's going to be seeing Marauder coming through. And just going to be seeing the Zealot taking quite a bit of damage. The Zealot taking quite a few shots. And it's going to get pushed back here as the couple of shield batteries will be taking some hits. And Crystal Shells is done. They try and get that Zealot. Zealot does not go down just yet. Bunker in some serious trouble here as well with the Zealot and Stalker on top of it. Going to be able to get that cancel as the Stargate of Zest sets up in the main base. Just going to be seeing our shield battery on the low ground once again. I mean, this is not really that great, right? I mean, for INnoVation, you do force 2 shield batteries, but that's really about it. He hasn't killed that much. I mean, this is all off 1 barracks, and he goes 2nd racks at home. Still rallying units across the map, still looking for damage here in the early stages. As the stim comes through, the Stargate is on the way in the main base. I just don't see how you break through the shield batteries, especially now when shield battery overcharge is going to be available. INnoVation's just going to head back. He started up stim, so it's quite important for him to maintain some map control. The last thing you want is to lose stim pack, so you want to be nearby to protect that stim in case Zest moves out, with the idea being that without the shield batteries, Zest's army is not really set up to go out on the map and fight, and it really isn't set to fight this at all. There are not enough Stalkers. Maybe with the Void Ray you could argue it, but there's honestly getting to be a pretty decent amount of Marines as well. So yes, these units from Zest are indestructible with the batteries. Without the batteries, not so much, and that's why INnoVation is getting away with this, as now he's gone into full-on Marine production. He does start the command center back at home, so he's starting to go into the backup plan. But he still is going to have something of a timing once the stim finished. Well, not if the Void Ray catches it. That's the one thing that can actually cancel the stim. Oh, no. The Marines are just too far away. He loses stim pack. I mean, honestly, I feel like if anything else shows up other than a Void Ray, you get here in time to defend it, or you get a lot of units out of it. In this case, you get absolutely nothing. And well, now INnoVation is walking home without any potential follow-up, without any way to really put any further pressure on. That is a, yeah. That's just, I don't want to know, I don't know if it's unfortunate. I mean, you could argue it's INnoVation's fault for not maybe protecting that stim more aggressively. Right, he's sitting here in the line of sight blocker, which is great to catch the Stalkers if they move across the map, but maybe consider the fact that You know, I don't know. I mean, I thought it would be okay because I mean, I guess I didn't think about the Void Ray, right? So, yeah, I don't know. All right, a little bit of a rough one then, as we do see Zest coming across to the top left-hand side. We do have a Bioforce set up on the natural. We're going to be having our couple of Void Rays making their way in. Marine's going to move forward and just going to be seeing the Starport about to finish up. So Starport will complete. Dark Shrine sets up in the main base and just going to be seeing the few extra voids going to go into this main base. Set up that prismatic alignment. Will take down the reactor. Void Ray harassment's very annoying right now. Again, without stim, you've got, like, you know, Marines that can't really chase properly, right? So you're just going to come in again and again. This Viking should get a kill, though. Oh, that one Void Ray pulls back in time. Okay. Zest is having a pretty great time here so far. Cancels the reactor again. I mean, can we just stop this, please, Zest? At least give INnoVation a chance. Dark Shrine is on the way up from Zest back at home, so he is already going into that. The few Void Rays still gathering up together. And... well, I mean, why not stay on the map? Why not try to get more done? You've had so much success with them already. It's something that INnoVation genuinely has to kind of sit back and deal with right now. Is, by the way, he still doesn't have stim. He's gone reactor on this barracks now. Now he's going to go 2 more racks that'll swap onto tech labs. This is just going to be such a late stim pack. I mean, he's going to have stim at what, like 9 minutes? I mean, that's a yikes. 9 minutes. DT's already warping in. Something else he has to consider. As Vikings in a Cyclone might actually get a Void Ray. No way. Okay, well, the Void Rays actually decide to fight back into the Vikings, which should mean that now they do get a kill. So, Void Rays do turn around. They're going to turn around one more time. They're going to get a Viking. And the other Void Ray still surviving. Yeah, I mean, these Void Rays have done their job anyway, as he just loses the last one before the other Viking goes down. But yeah, he's kind of done his job anyway, so I don't think this is all so bad. The DTs are blocked from getting in. The wall-offs are good, and they're kind of derping around the edge of the base at the moment. So DT's having a little bit of a derp, as you will see the DT here moving forward. Slowly trying to headbutt his way through this army. I'm sure you could send... the Raven's about to pop out, but obviously the big thing is that the units are just out of position to deal with this. There's not really any units to kill a DT. Stalker's in the middle of the map, about to have Blink, not there yet. INnoVation has found his way around the right-hand side. So he is going to be around the edges here as we see a few SCVs starting to fall. I feel like Zest was a little bit lackluster with these DTs. Took a little while to move in. Wasn't really in sync. Now he's completely lost track of the army as well. So INnoVation does get on top of the third base. So he's going to be able to work on that as... yeah, I mean, he used 13 SCVs, but he's going to kill the third base of Zest here. So INnoVation gets a pretty good push going for himself down this bottom right side of the map. Now the Stalkers do have Blink. They're going to blink straight in. Remember, there's no freaking stim. Imagine the stim pack here, guys. Like, can you imagine there's stim with this? The difference that would make to me is huge. 11 probes fall. Zest still has a huge, huge probe lead. But he doesn't have a third base to mine with them from. So what is he really gaining? Probably not all that much as the Bio and the Raven hanging out the front. Stalkers will blink in. Raven goes down. A couple of Marauders get shot down already, and these SCVs will continue to pull into this. So SCVs pulling in does get the DT in below the orbital command, so is able to get that there already, and just going to be seeing the Stalkers continuing to blink back, doing a very good job of keeping themselves alive. It's a lot of SCVs that continue to go down right now. 18, 19, 20 workers falling, and still counting, really. Mules dropping down as well. Zest looking to put a bit of pressure on at the front here. 23 SCVs dead so far. Stalkers come in once again to try and get those Marauders. Another few Stalkers from Zest at the left-hand side. Third Nexus is going to be finishing up. Fourth Nexus in the upper right corner. Zest's army still gathering together as we're just going to be seeing Inno spreading out a little bit. A couple of extra gateways going to be on the way down as another Nexus comes in. Oh, I know, just gonna straight up leave the game. Yeah, I mean, he scans the third base being back up. His own third's pushed back. He's obviously lost a lot of SCVs here. Yeah. It felt like it was going so good for Inno when he gets this kill on this third base, right? You know, this moment here feels really, really good. You get that third base kill. You do lose your army. You just don't have freaking stim pack, man. Like, what are you meant to do when you don't have stim? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he has stim for this fight, even... Yeah. The killing that stim has been such a... I mean, obviously, killing stim is always a huge influence, but... Yeah, I don't know what to say. You lose all these SCVs, Inno realizes that Zest has a third base backup and fully mining, and you're just too far behind to get back in, so I don't disagree with the GG, just a little bit anticlimactic, but... Yeah, I mean, a weird game anyway. If Zest doesn't kill that stim pack, who knows how this would have played out instead. We do have, starting us off in the bottom right-hand corner, the Blue Protoss player who void raided his way to an advantage and kept it going with the Blink Stalkers. Zest taking the 1-0 lead in our best of 5. The left-hand side, the red Terran player is INnoVation. Didn't mention in the last game, so I'll just say quickly now, if you're enjoying these games on the YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that like button on the video. Maybe leave a comment down below, let us know how you're enjoying the games. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well, as we push toward, hopefully, maybe 35,000 YouTube subs. At the end of October, we'll see how many subs we need per month, and we'll see how plausible that maybe is. Exciting stuff, though. Exciting stuff. Thanks so much for supporting the YouTube if you're watching over there. I also got to make a quick shout out to Alpha X and into the Alpha X combo. These guys are putting on, they've really just ramped up like tournament production. I this week actually had to sit down and make a spreadsheet of replays of matches that of like Alpha X tournaments, because I had to figure out what I've got, what I don't have yet, and what I want to cast, because there's just so much stuff going on. They are producing show matches and different weekly events every single day, almost to the point where it's almost too much to follow because there's just so much happening. Like in a good way, you know? So, yeah, shout out to those guys. And obviously their replay is always available through Matcherino if you'd like to purchase them. That's what I do. I pay $5 or so for each of these replay packs, and we come along and cast the game. So, yeah, shout out to Alpha X. Without them, we'd have a lot less StarCraft 2 content going on this week. So, shout out to Alpha X and into the Alpha X for their work. As of late, Probe pulls back down from Zest through the center of the map, factory building in the main base from INnoVation. Nexus goes down on that natural, so very standard builds to begin with here, nothing out of the ordinary. Stargate builds from Zest in the main base. So Stargate a second time around, we'll see how much Zest sticks to that. We've seen a lot of Protoss players who have gone still very Twilight heavy, but mix the Stargate game in every now and then. Obviously Zest going for the different approach. He's going like Stargate every time. We'll see what he gets up to here. We'll see what the Stargate leads him into. I could imagine a kind of a... It's maybe just a Void Ray again, but you could just... I think he might just go Oracle straight away this time. Void Ray, I think, last time was very defensive, because he knew he was under attack. This time the Oracle does make a lot more sense, and that is what we're going to see building. So, Oracle to start us off as a couple of probes come down to the natural expansion. We'll start to mine away. Medevac is going to be popping now. Tech lab on the factory. Another barracks going to be setting up in the main base as well. There's the two Widow Mine. Sorry, that's a Widow Mine and a Hellion. Sorry, I saw the Widow Mine jump in. I was like, oh, double Widow Mine. I didn't see the Hellion jump in. So, a Widow Mine and two Hellions jump into a Medevac. It's the start of a bad joke. As I guess the plan is the Widow Mines are going to force the probes to pull, and then the Hellions are going to chase for the splash damage. So let's see how successful that will be. Oracle comes across the map into basically no anti-air. So the Oracle will strike first. Straight in, first SCV, second SCV, building barracks, goes down, and Well, looks like that will be it for Zest at the moment. There's that Widowmine drop, and now the Hellions pull, and you can see that probe stack in the plan. Kind of works out right away, but the probes now get to a shield battery, and that's going to be 5 probes killed, and that will be it. Boosts the medevac instead. Yeah, just the turn it had to take to grab the Widowmine was just a little bit too out of the way. Allowed the Stalkers to stay in range for a second shot, and that was enough to get the kill. So, yeah, big defense there from Zest. Does lose 5 probes. You consider the fact that he killed 2 probes for free over on this, 2 SCVs for free over on this side, and he kills the medevac, so there's no kind of return in Widowmine or anything. I don't think 5 probes is all that bad, because it was also 1 probe pull. You know, once this probe pull was done, there was no probe pull in the natural or anything, and that's the benefit of having cleaned that up fairly quickly and also making sure the medevac doesn't get to come back in. Because the moment that Widowmine returns, every time that Widowmine comes back in, it's another problem you have to deal with. Widowmine shows up, you gotta pull the probes, right? And that's money lost. So, overall, 5 workers right away now. Not so bad when you get the medevac and shut it down completely. As you see a good stasis ward as well. Catches a few SCVs, including a pretty fresh mule. Actually, that mule might not be fresh, right? That's the bar for the stasis. So, but including a mule, so it's a good little catch. It's a good denial of economy. And that's about 5 workers at least that aren't mining for the moment. So overall, Zest doing a good job to control the economy of the game, keeping INnoVation a little bit pinned back. I like it so far as we see this Oracle heading down, back down the right-hand side. The Stalkers will continue to move up to the top. Stimpak, Combat Shield, +1 attack, all coming through, and just seeing that Forge tickling along for Zest as well. It's about halfway along here as our Stalkers will move up the left-hand side. With that Oracle, obviously, potential to some high ground pressure on. And drop the Order Turret here, which is actually kind of a nice little win for Zest, right? Force 50 energy out of the Raven already, and now he's actually going to stay forward, and he's probably going to get Combat Shield. Guys, he gets the Raven! Wow, he gets the Raven, he gets Combat Shield, now the tank is out and sieging. The other tank's on the natural, so you can understand why he didn't bring it up into the main base, but yeah, that's just, I mean, that's just a case of all your production is right on the edge. And so, unfortunately, one of the tech labs is in range of the Stalkers from the low ground. I mean, the fact he got the Raven is just amazing. I mean, yes, part of that is positioning, but the other part of that is the fact that you can move that Raven back more easily. I mean, INnoVation kind of screwed that one up. Let's just be realistic here for a second. He should have never lost the Raven. So, Zest is off to a fantastic start again, I would say. Yes, he took a bit of damage from that Widowmine drop, but otherwise, you know, he's setting up onto 3 bases nice and quickly. He's looking confident. He's putting good damage out. He's doing things that weakens this initial bio-army push. You know, even if it's just combat shields, that's, you know, right now, these are Marines that go down a bit more easily. It's Marines that don't have as much HP, so you got to think about that as INnoVation. And it might not delay the eventual overall timing of this, but he's definitely slowing it down a bit. There's no question about that. Like, at the end of the day, combat shield still might be done for when this attack hits across the map, but I think this attack moved out much later than it wanted to anyway. So this comes back in, and again, these Marines are just melting without the combat shield. They're just dying real quick at the moment. Stalkers continue away to the left-hand side. The round is just going to warp in, and Archon on the way up as well. Ghost Academy dropping in from INnoVation on the natural. It's a pretty quick Ghost Academy, but it's the right call. I mean, this is extremely Zealot heavy from Zest back at home. This has just been 3 gases for a little while. He's only just recently taken gases 4 and 5. So you do not have, like, you know, that big tech if you don't have that move into Colossus or anything. So INnoVation kind of recognizing this and just saying, cool, well, in that case, I'm just going to get my Ghost Academy up, get my Ghost going. I wonder if this turns into something of an SCV pill for INnoVation as well, though, because that's something INnoVation did in the past. I wonder if maybe this, you know, this may be the goal again. With enhanced shockwaves, maybe not. That takes a long time to finish. So yeah, probably not. There's the Oracle out the center. Just going to see the Prism loading up a few Zealots. There's another round of Zealots coming in. Just going to be seeing Zest moving around. I mean, the Ghosts are a great call, but are they going to be ready in time? Because Zest is about to attack. 95 to the 73 army supply. Problem is, these tanks from 2 different angles actually don't do super amazingly well. Hallucinated Archon to come in to tank some damage as well. And it's working. The hallucinations take a big brunt of the damage from the tanks initially. But Mine's trying to burrow up. I mean, one of them on the bottom side should go off on a Stalker or two, but the tanks are all gone. There's still Archons in the front lines, and here comes the reinforcing wave of Zealots. SCVs, 20 of them down to try and defend this attack, and you can just see the unit count is dropping heavily for our Terran player. GG from INnoVation, and Zest is going to take a 2-0 lead in the best of 5. Zest looking really, really good here so far. 2-0 in the lead now against Inno. We go into Submarine, and it's obviously match point here for our Blue Protoss play in the top left-hand side. It is Zest taking on the so far unfortunate Red Terran bottom right INnoVation. It's been a little bit of a sad series for Inno. I feel like that stim cancel in game number 1 was extremely game defining. Maybe you have no idea what that could have turned into if you finished stim, and it was so close as well. In game 2, he loses that combat shield, and I feel like his entire push gets a bit messed up from there, and then because of that, he's just he's never done what he wanted to do, and Zest got away with all the things he wanted to get away with. Yeah, it felt like, I mean, Zest also came off the Oracle damage early versus the Widowmine damage, and I felt that was actually overall maybe a bit better for Zest, so definitely a factor. It's just been a couple good starts for sure so far. Alright, so Probe heading down the bottom right. We're going to head up to the top side from INnoVation. Going to go across to get some scout info. SCV coming to scout as well, of course, as the SCV and Probe do their little dance in the natural. Cybercall getting set up. Nexus is coming through on the natural and just going to be seeing our SCV going back down to the bottom right hand side. So SCV is going to come down to the bottom right. Reaper is going to continue to the upper left. And yeah, Reaper just continuing out. We'll get to the top in the next few moments. Hop, hop. And into the main base where a Probe takes a little bit of damage to start off with. The Stalker comes over the side. Warp Gate is building in the main. And this time Zest will go Stargate, but not in his base. It's going to proxy around the top side of the map. It's a fun Stargate location. Obviously, it doesn't go directly to the main. It goes through the natural mineral line first, so a little bit off. Usually, you would expect Stargate proxy, like, I think he is, like, really common. This bottom side of the map, though, in general, if you're going to proxy, because then, again, you get into the main base right away. If this was like a one-base Stargate proxy, you could probably argue this is going to be Void Rays, although you'd probably then build it like here, just a bit closer for reinforcements. In this case, it should just be an Oracle or so, and again, hiding it up here, because that's where INnoVation is less likely to scout. You can see it right now. He's checking the bottom side. He's checking the obvious way, or the obvious place for proxy to be for access to the main. So because of that, the Stargate in the main, or in the top right side, is going to be fantastic. It's going to catch INnoVation completely off guard. So INnoVation may be off to a little bit of a rough start once again if he can't get this Oracle play under control. Reaper and the Hellion coming up to the upper left side, going to fly into the natural, and well, they're just going to straight up go for a couple of probe kills. To be fair, I mean, this is nice because it's not like you're going to use these defensively back at home. He is going to get one more probe. 3 workers. Okay, 3 workers go down, but let's see what the Oracle's about to do. Again, defensively, what is there? 6 Marines, but they're spread out all over the place. A few in the bunk, a couple up on the high ground. 1 SCV goes down. Now the Oracle hits the main base. He could have gone for the main base. He turns back to the natural. The main base is the money. You know, there is nothing to defend here. He's afraid of a Widowmine, though, and he obviously doesn't know there's no Widowmine. So Zest is trying to be a little bit cautious. And with the caution, he picked up 3 SCVs and no more. So, yeah, I mean, he makes up for the damage he just took. I think this could have been a way more successful Oracle, but the fear of what could be is actually what defends this for INnoVation versus actually having stuff out and around. It's that Roddy said this to me once, and he said, if something is too good to be true, it usually isn't true, right? In StarCraft 2. And this was one of those scenarios where it's like, it's almost too good to be true that the main base is just defenseless against your Oracle. But can that really happen? And so Zest is like, nah, I just can't risk it, you know? What if there is a Widowmine there? He dives in, Oracle goes down, he only ends it with 1 SCV kill. Because then he looks like an idiot, and we all laugh at Zest, and we're like, haha, Zest, you flew into a Widowmine, you idiot. Like, okay, maybe we don't quite go like that, but it's obviously not a good time for Zest, and then you lose one of the units you want to keep alive because this is your map control, this is what's telling you what's going on in the game, it's keeping track of structures, unit movement. You don't want to lose the Oracle, so... I mean, if you lose the Oracle, he probably builds another one just for that continued map control, and that's an expense which would have slowed down this Stalker play, because now he's got a good amount of Stalkers moving across the map. As INnoVation continues through to his bio upgrade, Stim Pack, Combat Shield, and +1 attack. All continuing through as everything gathers on the bottom side. Raven of INnoVation will go down the bottom left. As you have the Medivacs continue to build, charge. It's on the way in the main base. Forge is going to be finishing soon. I think it's Raven. It's going to be a good little bit of harassment as these Stalkers don't really find a way in. Shield battery there, but I mean, you're still stopping the pros from mining because they're trying to stay in range of the battery. So yeah, I mean, that's nice. And you drain the battery, right? Which is obviously potentially useful in the future. I mean, now if you drop another turret here, it could be really successful as a few Stalkers blinked up to harass, but will not find anything. In fact, lost a few Stalkers in these trades. Sorry, I'm watching this Raven, and there's actually Stalkers dying. I apologize. Alright, well, Bio still gathers up. A couple extra probes of Zest just going to pull down to the 3rd base. Stalker's still built up over in the main, and just going to be having our army of INnoVation moving across to the upper left-hand side. Guardian +1 coming through. The extra gateways are dropping down from Zest in the main. Pylons will build across the main base as well, and just going to be seeing our Bio army continuing forwards. As Widowmines power up, a couple shots go off. The rest of the Bio coming up through to the top side. Gets the Oracle as it flies overhead. Just only seen a couple probes now dying as auto turrets drop off in the natural. Bio stims in, a lot of Stalkers taking a lot of damage. The Raven comes flying overhead. I mean, the problem is Zest is still just on purely Blink Stalkers here, right? And purely Blink Stalkers is just not really doing the job. He's going to get one of these pylons, but then he realizes there's another anyway, and that he can actually just do well just fighting against these Zealots. Probe's now going to start pulling in as well to try and help tank for the Stalkers, but INnoVation just has that little bit too much. We're just going to be seeing the Bio army continuing through, and that's going to be GG. Yeah, I mean, just to go back quickly, it really is just a bit too much for INnoVation, right? You know, Zest has had a game where these 5 Stalker losses don't help. The lost mining time doesn't help either, so INno's been doing okay on mining. But what's really crazy to me is that Zest is about to have this charge, and it's just not there yet. And he just, you know, he gets it, but now he doesn't have any Zealots ready. And that's the big deal, because if the Zealots ready for this, it's a very different fight. But without Zealots, I mean, yeah, Super Battery fades, and this Bio army just has a great time. And then when the Zealots do warp in, they warp in behind the batteries, which, I mean, that's just, that's just asking for disaster, right? Like, how is that ever going to do anything? I really don't know. Interesting one from Zest. INnoVation pulls it back, though, and gets the game on the scoreboard, and he will not go down without a fight. In the top right-hand side, still has match point, of course, at his disposal. Let's see if he can pick it up here and close this one out in our first series of the day. Blue Protoss top right is Zest. Taking on the Red Terran in the bottom left-hand side from KaiZ Gaming It's INnoVation. I like this little tournament. You know, if I had to pick 4 players to cast, INnoVation, Zest, Beyond Solar, I mean, I feel like those are 4 players I'd cast any day of the week, you know? Like I say, these ITAX tournaments lately have been really fun. Loving the players that they're getting involved, and really awesome that we're seeing so much of it. Alright, so Gateway is coming in to the main base, as we do have our command center in the main Welfare Racks building. Not much happened in the first minute of the game, would you believe it? Is Wardy wearing a t-shirt with his own face? I am, yeah. Some people call this vain, I call this marketing. Because this is the WardiTV merch that you guys can also purchase yourself on the exclamation mark merch store. You know? So, yeah. I am wearing it with my own face, but I mean, like, it is also like a design, right? Like, it is kind of like a logo, so yeah, it's got my face on it. It's not like I just took a photo and slapped it on a t-shirt. It's like, fuck, I look good, you know? You know what I'm saying? It's not quite that bad. I had to get someone to draw me to look good enough to be on the t-shirt, so it's not like 100% thing. You know, I wore this. I didn't really think about it, but I did like a stream, and then I went out with my friends, and I obviously just kept the same t-shirt on. You know, it's not like I'm like running around the house when I'm casting. So I went out to meet with my friends, and they're like, "You wearing a t-shirt with your face?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is my new merch. It's cool, right?" They're like, "Oh, you're such a douchebag." I'm like, "What?" Wow. So yeah, I mean, take it for what you will, I guess. Anyways, hey, thank you, Port, for the donation. $40 coming through as we are just a couple minutes into this game, waiting for something a little bit more exciting to happen. Thank you so much for the $40. Hope you're doing good. I'll mention that again after the game. I'm trying to keep these games without any nonsense in them, but I had to tell the t-shirt story. All right, Adept heading down to the bottom left-hand side. Twilight Council is building from Zest in the main base, so switching it up, moving away from Stargate. Now, he has gone Stargate into Blink a little bit, so it's not like we've not seen Zest playing with Blink Stalkers. But opening Blink is a whole different beast, because that Blink hits earlier. It gives you a lot more aggressive opportunities. It gives you a bit more map control on the ground from the get-go. Things are just faster, and then the transition through into into charge and so on is going to be that much faster as well. That, or you can also then go from Blink into Colossus, so you've got a couple of real options. So yeah, a couple of options on this one as Blink starts up from Zest over in the main base. And the Adept will continue to shade up to the top right-hand side. A robotics facility will come down here on the front of the Natural. Reaper from INnoVation making its way across to the upper side of the map. And yeah, INnoVation will just continue through up to the top. There's Hellion coming in to join up as well. So Reaper and Hellion together. Now there's an Adept and a couple Stalkers here, so the Reaper goes down immediately. This is the point of building Reaper Hellion. If one unit doesn't get it in, the other one will. And he gets in to see that Blink, so you get to know what's going on here early. Doesn't pick up probe this time around. It's a good probe pull away from Zest to make sure that doesn't happen. And INnoVation just to make sure he's going to go Raven as well. That detection in case there is a sneaky Dark Shrine coming up, just to help him out. Obviously, he has fallen victim to... I don't know if the DTs really ended that earlier game that we saw, but they definitely did. I mean, he definitely wasn't prepared to deal with the DTs at the very least, so... Blink about to finish up from Zest. Third Nexus, Pylon. Setting up already as the Engineering Bay from INnoVation goes into the back of the Natural. And the Stim Pack already starting from Inno in the main base as well. So getting that going. A third Rax building in the main base too. As our Marines, Raven tank. All of this continue to set up in the main. Adept moving around a little bit on a bit of a patrol out the front. Charge has already started as our hallucination. Flies on down to the bottom left-hand side. Marines, Raven. damage done as our hallucination gets through into the main. So observe while Zest continues down toward the bottom as well. It's just really kind of, I mean, never really moved out with the Stalkers initially either, right? Really kept them at home, didn't really do much. Never built that many of them, I think is important to note as well. So he's on a pretty low Stalker count. It really means that a lot of aggression could go well for INnoVation. You know, drops and so on. There's not Stalkers to really shut those down or anything. So definitely, definitely something. Raven up the left-hand side is actually going to spot the Prism. Going to drop double auto turret here, which might just kill the Prism before it gets away. Wow. Haha. That's actually pretty sick. What a call for INnoVation. I wasn't sure. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Auto turrets do a lot of damage. Prisms aren't super tanky. Yeah, maybe if Zest sees the Raven coming in, though, you unsiege. And if you get the unsiege and start moving before the auto turrets are down, then obviously you survive. But no, INnoVation realized Zest wasn't doing that. He gets the auto turrets down. He picks off the Prism. Suddenly, INnoVation can move freely onto the map. There is nothing to hold him back at home. And so INnoVation can just go. And, I mean, you look at the timing here. +1, stim, combat shields. You know, like, we're just going down the checklist. All the things Terra needs to win a fight. Tick, tick, tick. You know, he's got everything as he moves across. New Prism from Zest will go down the bottom side. Some Zealots already working their way there. And INnoVation building his third on location. Have to be careful about that with the Zealots and War Prism counterattacking. Guardian Shield pops. Shield Battery is going to get overcharged. Yeah, the force fields don't really allow Zest to fight here. I feel like those force fields almost work against him a little bit. I mean, they stop the Terran from attacking, but then you commit to the attack anyway. Widowmine's going to go off the Immortal, especially taking the brunt force of that Widowmine hit. As these Immortals will break through the tank lines, but I think this Bio is going to get rid of at least one now. Both the Immortals and everything from Zest is going down here. I think a reinforcement around the Zealots might shut it down because, well, these few Zealots actually came from the bottom side. There's not a lot of Marines left, so the damage output on Zealots isn't crazy. And he's still warping in Stalkers. I guess needs a little bit of range so he doesn't get kited forever. Well, this is extremely expensive for Zest as INnoVation. This Prism never really did anything, so he's not have to worry about this at all. You know, that threat we were talking about wasn't a thing. The Zealots that went down there, they pulled back up here to come and deal with this attack. And here we are with, finally, I think, enough warpins to actually shut this down, although a couple Widowmines get in the front. If they connect, and even just picking up a couple of units goes a long way right now, as probes are even pulled in once again. So Zest's having a horrible time. Now, INnoVation, let's be fair, he hasn't exactly been making a ton of SCVs to saturate that third base. So the third is unsaturated. The worker count's even. That's still good for the Terran player who's about to be on triple mule to boost the economy. And the +1 attack of Zest moves into the main base. A few Zealots will come around the sides. And they are going to start to slice and dice these Marauders. So Marauders taking some hits. The other couple of Zealots will continue through these SCVs. So a lot of damage being done. A couple of Widowmines go off. Zealots taking hits again. And the Medevac's going to go into the main base. Going to start to unload. Probes pull in. Widowmines line up. And they get a couple workers into the main base. Orbital Command lifts off. The Zealots still chasing. Finding a couple of SCVs. Alright, well, in the end, 15 SCVs do go down, so the damage in the end is there. It is good. See a few extra warpins coming in. Another round of Zealot's going to hit the third while going into the main base. INnoVation going to launch another attack across the map. Has 1-1 against 0-0 right now. Just has nothing to really deal with the Zealots. And this Prism could maybe warp in a few more. He's going to go to the natural to do so, and that keeps him safe away from those Widowmines that were maybe looking for the burrow kill. And that Prism gets away there. These Zealots just everywhere, so INnoVation taking a lot of damage. I mean, he's now down to 34 workers. Is that enough for Zest to just end this? Zest still has to defend this army, and I love the drop into the main, because now the army either has to recall into the main base, or it has to run up this ramp through the Widowmines. I mean, that isn't going to be fun, I'll tell you that right now. Widowmines unburrow and reburrow to make sure single Zealots aren't triggering them. He's going to need them now, though, as these Zealots go running in, but he gets good Widowmine connections, and it's not onto the Bio either, so no splash damage, no friendly fire. And INnoVation gets the couple of Immortals on the ramp. The probes are pulling in, so now INnoVation's starting to deal damage. rallying across the map with more units. He's killed a lot of workers. The DTs show up. INnoVation, I feel like, probably doesn't have a scan right now. Okay, he does, but he probably didn't actually have the units to fight, so probably a good idea not to have wasted a scan there. Just going to be seeing everything else down the bottom left. This Prism just about escaping away to the side. Wouldn't mind about a pop from Inno. Marauder's still trying to fight DTs. Ooh, gonna get hit by a Widow Mine. The other two getting caught. Super Battery goes down to try and save the day. I mean, across the map, we've got DTs now coming in to try and be annoying as well. Viking is finally on top of that Prism. Looks like that Prism might finally go down. The DTs are handled, and over here, the Marauder count is just murdering Stalkers. And he's warping in more Stalkers. Stop, Zest. Take a second and look at what you're fighting. He wants to tank with the probes and try and do damage with the Stalkers. I feel like Zealots... The problem is, I guess, a warping of Zealots is just going to be what? Running in, getting kited as well. I don't know if that's worse than the Stalkers, though. I mean, it's kind of a lost fight anyway on this top side. Zest made this scrappy, he made this dangerous, and he nearly had it. But in the end, INnoVation holds on, able to take game 4, and we're tied up, going to a game number 5. Okay. On the top left-hand side, our blue Protoss player from Raise Your Edge is Zest. Taking on the red Terran in the bottom right-hand side from KaiZ Gaming, we have got INnoVation. INnoVation. Game 5. Where do you go? I mean, kind of feels like Zest has lost a couple of derpy games. Is that fair to say? I don't know. It just feels like I don't want to say that it's just been not so great a setup from Zest as it has been previously. I mean, that last game, he opened into Blink, never really used the Blink at all. INnoVation kills that Prism, gets an attack across the map, and even then Zest was almost able to scrap it together, but was not really a clean victory. And the game before that, I mean, again, just kind of Zest dying because he doesn't have the right stuff up at the right time to fight the armies due to how the early game is going. So, after games 1 and 2 was so much... after games number 1 and 2 were so... kind of Zest favored early game. Games 3 and 4 have been a lot more about INnoVation, and he's been able to then turn that into mid-game advantages, which have more or less ended things. So, what to look at there is we do have a command center placed in the natural, so it gets that set up. Cyber core going down from Zest in the main base. Nexus down from Zest in the natural. And this Adept just going to be chrono boosting out, so going to be getting an Adept onto the field in just the next few moments as well. Bring this out and just going to be seeing our Warp Gate setting up on the main base. Reaper of INnoVation is going to start moving across to the upper left-hand side. Adept wanted to shade on top of that Reaper there, doesn't quite manage it. Twilight Council of Zest sets up into the main base. Again, just going to be seeing a Nexus getting set up in the natural. That's going to finish, and a Stalker about halfway done. Warp Gate halfway along. Factory going to finish in the main. And a couple of Marines going to get into this bunker. So INnoVation just playing safe early. So with the Twilight Council again, I'm really interested to see what Zest does this time, because I know it's going to be Blink, but how many Stalkers does he build? Last game, he only built 3 Stalkers off the Blink opening. Does he go? I mean, you gotta expect he goes for at least a few more this time around, right? Like, surely. Surely that has to be the case. I ask in question. Kind of wild if he doesn't. That'd be very interesting if he doesn't actually, as we do have the Adept here, going to shade out up to the top side, so it goes on a little bit of an adventure. Reaper Hellion start to run by, nice grenade, and they're going to get a probe here. Is going to go up to the main because, again, for him, this is the first time he's really going to get to scout, so a little bit of scouting goes a long way. This Reaper will get one more probe, and that should be a happy little ending for INnoVation. 2 probe kills and the scout. That's why that Reaper Hellion combo is so popular and used so frequently. This means the Widowmine drop can move across the map. And then he goes into 2 extra barracks behind this. Plenty of marine production coming in. Nothing really off the factory bar those Widowmines. It's going to start tech lab on the factory and the starport. So making the add-ons for the 2 barracks to jump onto, get that stim pack and combat shield started. That's the medevac. Boosts over the left-hand side. So medevac going to come through. The few stalkers from Zest hanging around on the left. Hallucination going to pop out and move down the side. And stalker is going to be putting some damage onto a medevac. So medevac taking a few more shots. Stimpack, combat shield, +1 attack. On the way in. Charges starting. A couple of extra gates going to morph into warp gate in the main. 2 gates down over here as well. Gonna see these couple of marauders going to be popping out shortly as game. Playing this 3 racks bio setup gives you this opportunity as INnoVation to be aggressive yourself. Again, this is 6 stalkers this time, but still pretty passive from Zest, right? Not really a lot going on. You know, INnoVation got a couple probes with that Reaper Hellion, but that's been about it. There's not been anything else really since then. INnoVation comes down to the bottom side. As a few Zelds jump up into the warp prism. And here we go. Move out across the map. So a bit of pressure going to start setting up as the extra gates come in. Shield battery about to finish up on the front. The observer is flying overhead here, keeping track of this army. Prism into the main base. Going to get ready to unload a few of these zealots, the adept as well. Going to start getting some damage done as there's a lot of these SCVs starting to go down here. 3 workers killed. There's now the bio. Probably thinking about pushing up to that top side. Stalker's backing away. Couple of force fields down. I mean, defensively good from Zest. He does need a Widowmine shot on the army. Can these Zealots get a cancel on the base? Widowmine showing up probably means you cannot. Good micro against the Widowmines, though. A couple of units there. Gonna say no to anything else, although that's a big Zealot warp, and then doesn't get halted before it gets done, so this happens. Meanwhile, INnoVation still trying to press up here. Super Battery to help save anything possible. And well, these Zealots get into this mineral line. There's still mostly just Marauders here defensively as the Zealots charge in. A few SCVs will continue to go down. 7 workers down so far. I'm just going to be seeing our bio army still continue to move forward. Sentries falling, Immortals getting picked off. Stalkers are getting traded out for as well. It's just the damage you're taking in this main base. I mean, these Zealots charge in. They're cleaning up Widowmines now. That's great. Always good to shut those down and stop further splash damage from coming out. One more Widowmine shot here. Does get a pretty good connection onto the Zealots on the right side, but there's no follow-up. Again, Marauders just don't do the damage against Zealots. So Zest will warp into the main base again and just continue to warp Zealots in because, hey, there just wasn't the unity to deal with this. Now these Zealots wasted some time, arguably, on this refinery. Maybe they could have dove on the army instead. In fact, he's going to bring the Zealots forward to do that, as he believes he still has enough. The Stalkers and the Immortals showing up on the front doorstep. They're going to hit the 3rd base. You're running out of Zealots here. Stalkers are taking Widowmine shots. He's got the base burning down. INnoVation, is there a way to save this? He's on his way across. He needs some SCVs to repair it, but it will not be repaired. The 3rd base is being denied by Zest, and that is a massive play. I mean, that's the biggest part of all of this. The Zealot harassment was good, but INnoVation was holding on. but killing the third is something that INnoVation can't recover from anywhere near as easily. Makes this a much more difficult scenario as RoboBay sets up the forge in the main base as well. A few extra sentries on the way out. Command center from INnoVation building in that main base. And just going to be seeing Zest coming up to the top side of the map. Couple of racks will go down in the main base. That's going to be 5 racks in total. And INnoVation just has to get that third base back up and running, but all this time is him sitting down on economy a little bit. I guess Zest is transferring workers or something. INnoVation shouldn't be... because INnoVation's got like all the mules at once right now, so he hadn't dropped mules in a while. So that kind of brought INnoVation back into the eco game. But this should overall be Zest favored now that probes... now that mules are not dropping multiple at once. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Widow Mines over in the natural actually continue to do damage. Sorry, I lost track of this medevac as 13 workers go down. Okay, well, that's huge. Suddenly Zest just takes a massive shot to the economy. That's actually big. I mean, now INnoVation has a worker lead once he moves forward again. You can see Zest was just about to get back on track with the mules not being there. And now it's like, whoa, hang on a second. Maybe not. Especially because Inno's about to float out a third base and take location. So it's going to be 3-on-3 bases. Okay. With the Robo Facility and a Robo Bay continuing up, so that's going to be a double Robo to produce from. As the Bio Army of INnoVation moves up the right-hand side. There's our orbital out the front. SCV is continuing to mine between the natural and the third. INnoVation making its way all the way up to the top here. Scan goes down, catching this Nexus, and just going to be seeing Zest's army. Looking to greet this. I mean, INnoVation seems pretty eager to fight. There's a lot of Immortals, by the way. 5 Immortals mixed into this. But cheeky little Widow Mines trying to find a way to do something extra. INnoVation just going to sit here again. The Immortal count's extremely high. It's difficult to justify pushing up into it. Well, especially when you've got this much left at home. But love to see INnoVation doing something with this. Right now, almost feels as though he can move around one way and then obviously maybe use the rest of these medevacs elsewhere. He's going to just boost into the main base. I mean, these Stalkers were just right here, so he loses one medevac right from the start. Now he'll kill a few Stalkers right off the get-go as well. This Prism manages to turn around. His INnoVation in the main is going to shut down a couple pylons. All these gateways are empowered. More of these Stalkers start to go down as well as the medevacs will load up and drop back down to the third base location. A few more probes continue to drop, and just going to see the Super Battery continue to heal up these Stalkers here. So, Stalkers being healed up. Widow Mine's going to move through. Widow Mine's still going off, getting a good few connections. Getting a lot done as our medevacs will go down the left-hand side. Stalker, Immortal, Sentry, Zealot. All the way down the bottom right, we're just going to be seeing these medevacs loading up. INnoVation going to take this out over to the left-hand side here. I'm still just going to see these few Stalkers continue to make their way down the bottom. Medevac goes down. Zest is going to sit around. Prism just about able to survive for the moment, and INnoVation going to take a boost up to the top left. So he's going to drop into the natural expansion, but Zest is going to push the natural. He's going to find, I mean, a full medevac right from the go. Take that too, basically. That's like 20 supply that INnoVation loses defensively for no reason other than they just sat there doing nothing. I mean, imagine 20 extra supply here, the difference that might make. No one think it's necessarily going to win the fight, but even trading out extra units right now can go a long way. INnoVation in the natural is going to kill the Nexus, and he's going to move up into the main. He needs to shut down production, of course. It's very important for him to get to. Yeah, there's so much in this main base. INnoVation is not going to produce anything. Zest. Okay, Zest doesn't even need to defend his main. INnoVation is just going to give it up, but INnoVation just fell apart in this base trade, losing some units for free, and I felt like he got into that Widow Mine drop that killed 13 probes that brought him back into the work account. I felt like he was actually in a great spot from there. He just needed to settle down, maybe tech up a little bit. Zest was just ahead on the tech, just ready to go, and INnoVation kind of threw away a lot of units to not really do that much, which opened the door for the Zest counterattack to come across the map, and that's just GG. Oh well, Zest goes through to the finals. He wins out 3-2 over INnoVation in that first best of 5 of the day.